The dial on this watch is made from 24 karat gold, the details and finishing is top tier, and the movement is a Swiss automatic. It's clear that this microbrand wants to deliver a high-end experience without the high-end price tag. Question is, do they deliver a luxury experience or are they just another wannabe? Hello there, my name is Kieran, welcome to Top Tier Ticker, I hope you're having a good day. Today I have a brand new dive watch in for review by Italian microbrand Venezianico. These guys have already developed a bit of a cult following amongst enthusiasts for delivering unique watches at affordable price points, with their ultra black model selling out every time it gets released being a good example of their popularity. And Venezianico was recently nominated for not one but two GPHG awards. This is basically the Oscars for watches. Their Historia Temporis and Bella Notte being the two watches up for the awards. By the way, I think that Bella Notte is one exceptionally beautiful watch. Well done to the designer of that piece. But we aren't here for that watch today, we're here for this, the Nereide Aureo. This is Venezianico's flagship dive watch line. However, this particular model is sort of the first of a new generation. It features some big upgrades over the previous Nereide models, including a brand new bracelet and clasp. I do get to keep this watch after the review, but as usual, all views and opinions are mine only. So let's first address that title. How does this microbrand deliver a luxury experience? Well, that actually starts off with the brand itself. They take themselves seriously. They do things the right way and they shout their achievements and quality from the rooftops. But this only works if you also deliver a quality product, which in my opinion, they do. The luxurious experience actually starts off with the unboxing. After all, your average luxury watch doesn't typically come in a paper bag, does it? This is one of the areas where I feel Venezianico really separates themselves from the rest. Everything with the packaging is custom. The outer box, the sleeves, envelopes, and everything feels like it's made from high quality materials. This new Nereide model is a limited edition piece. It's limited to just 500 pieces worldwide, and it's open for pre-order from the release date of this video. And you do get a cheeky discount for pre-ordering too. €1,035 pre-order, €1,295 normal retail price. It's also around €200 cheaper if you're outside the EU, so UK, US, but please factor in import duties, especially if you live in the UK. Yes, this watch has ventured over that $1,000 mark, but I think what this watch is offering on paper is in line with its price tag. Firstly, that dial. This watch features a 24 karat treated dial. From what I understand, this is like an electroplated sort of situation. At least that's the impression I get with the video of the watch being made shown on the Venezianico website. So how much gold is actually on this dial? Well, I definitely don't think it's enough to like smelt down into a ring or anything, but it's cool to know that this golden dial actually features real pure gold. And by the way, what an effect the real gold delivers. Firstly, we have a sunburst finish. This is likely applied to the dial before the gold is set on top, but then the gold on top provides this ripple effect that gives the dial surface a ton of visual interest. Basically, this is one of the most dynamic dial finishes I've ever seen on a watch. The baton indexes are applied and attached to the minute track, which is also golden in colour. These indices give the illusion of floating above the central golden dial. We also have a small date window at the 3 o'clock that features a thin polished frame. The indexes and fence post hands are completely polished and multifaceted. They also feature a strip of lume through the centre. This lume is a lovely blue colour, BGW9 Swiss Superluminova. The second hand also features a tiny bit of lume, and then there is a triangle lume pip up on the bezel providing some low light orientation along with the double index at the 12 o'clock. The lume on this is fine, it's not outstanding, but it does the job. Moving outwards to that bezel, it's unidirectional and features 120 clicks. And this bezel is another area that separates Venezianico from a lot of other brands. Most watchmakers use some form of steel, aluminium, or ceramic as their bezel insert material. Venezianico is one of the only brands I know that use tungsten. This material is one of the toughest amongst the metal family, and it's actually 4 times stronger than stainless steel, basically making this super scratch resistant. So although this bezel looks like it'll pick up scratches for fun, the material used will keep this bezel looking fresh. Now, although that bezel does have a completely polished finish, the 316L steel case actually features mostly brushing. The case sides feature a horizontal brush, with the upper lugs featuring a vertical brush. There is a thin polished chamfer chamfered edge running along the side of the watch, with a tiny bit of polishing on the upper crown guards to match. This finishing is done to a very precise standard, and I can't see any flaws amongst it. The different finishes also match well together, and I'm super glad that it isn't all polished, otherwise this watch would definitely be way too flashy. As mentioned earlier, this is Venezianico's dive watch line, meaning that we do get a dive capable 200 meter water resistance rating. The crown is extremely grippy, signed with the Venezianico cross, and is screwed down. The case back features an engraving of the Basilica of San Marco, and is screwed into the case with 6 screws. We do have a piece of sapphire covering that beautiful golden dial. It is only flat in construction, but the anti-reflective coating here is magnificent. I suspect that they've used a flat sapphire here to reduce the case thickness, because they really have done a great job cramming this watch into a nice thin package. Strangely, Venezianico doesn't list the case thickness on their website, which is surprising given that this watch has a good one. It's just 12.2mm thick on my calipers, with a 49mm lug-to-lug and a 42mm case diameter. I think that this watch visually wears like a 42 because of how vibrant the dial and bezel is, but in terms of comfort, I think it wears more like a 41. I think anyone with a 7-inch wrist and above will eat this watch up for breakfast. Wrists any smaller, I think you'll need to have a taste for larger watches, but even on my 6.5-inch wrist, I think it just about works. We can, however, thank the movement for the majority of that case thickness. Inside, Venezianico went for the Sellita SW200-1. Here we get a nice smooth sweep, a quiet rotor compared to the Miyota 9000, and generally just a better feeling movement when winding and setting the time. The basic Nereide line comes with the Seiko NH35, so this is definitely a massive upgrade over that regular model. But the biggest upgrade to this particular watch comes with the bracelet and clasp. The previous model featured a H-link construction with a butterfly deployant. I won't lie, I was not a fan of the older Venezianico bracelet. I went as far as not recommending it to you guys in my previous review. This one is head and shoulders better. Visually, I prefer the look of this bracelet. It's a bit more unique and it feels way more comfier. The end links on the model I have are slightly different to the full production ones. I'm told they will be slightly less rounded and not stick out from the lugs. And I'm so happy to see some micro adjustment. A bigger, heavier watch like this needs it in order to find the perfect fit. The bracelet features a couple of polished links with brushing down the center and flanks, with the clasp featuring a large polished section in the center with the Venezianico cross and brushing on the edges, very similar in design to a Rolex clasp. Now this polished section to the clasp is actually one of my negatives. This will undoubtedly pick up a ton of scratches and lose its shine rather quickly, especially if you work at a desk. And I know most of you will be disappointed not to see some form of on-the-fly adjustment with the clasp too. And at this price point you would expect it. But give Venezianico some time with this. This is their first clasp that isn't a butterfly. Let them evolve this into the future. And my final negative is the size. I know they do make a Nereide model at 39mm, but they only seem to do these special editions in 42. I would be extremely interested to see them do something like this in a smaller case size, while sticking with a more premium movement in the process. 42mm is too big for a lot of people, even with the 49 lug-to-lug and thickness considered. I think it's fair to say that Venezianico does somewhat prioritize aesthetics over practicality, the polished clasp and larger case size being a good example of that. But these aesthetics do make the watch look more premium and luxurious, which I believe is the aim of Venezianico. They want their watches to look like the top dog, and they often do. Their watches undoubtedly stand out on wrist due to the polishing and dial materials, with them delivering an expensive look in the process. This watch looks like a luxury watch. The dial is literally glowing with gold. If you have the wrist size to support it and you want something a bit flashy and blingy, I think this watch is for you. Venezianico website down there. Remember, you can currently pre-order for a discount. Deliveries will start just a few weeks from your order. Only 500 pieces are being made. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.